Okay, we go. Hey, sir. Sorry for the delay.
I really need to get that Bannerlord review going, for fuck's sake. Come on. I need to stop playing Warhammer for at least this teensy bit. Grimgore will wait. I know, buddy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Jeez, I feel like I'm talking to my girlfriend. Anywho, good day there, lady and gentle dwarves. How have you been? I hope that you were well during these past days. I personally have been playing a lot of Warhammer, and it almost caused a delay on this little review of mine. But here I am at like 2 in the morning working on the review. I personally feel like I have nothing new to add to the scene, I would say, or to the general reviews that you can find on the internet. But one, I said that I'll do the review, and second, it can still serve as that tipping point for maybe the few of you that are still on the fence about buying the game. And 3, I like to document things, and this will also serve as the current status report, more or less, since the launch was rather interesting in a lot of ways. It was really broken, as I even mentioned in the Doom Eternal video. It wasn't stable. There were a lot of graphical glitches. I experienced a lot of crashes, although I later learned on my own research, and then also I was confirmed on a forum that the main cause of my crashes, at least, was the Army of Poachers quest, because for whatever reason, when you failed the quest, it would crash the game. So, you know, it wasn't great, but now I can attest to the quest no longer crashing your game. And it's generally more stable, and I also think that there's been some optimization done over the course of these few months. Just a teensy bit, or at least it feels so. Or maybe it's a driver optimization. I'm not quite sure, I haven't really delved that much into it. But it feels like it runs a bit better than it used to. Anyways, enough of this, and let's get straight into the review. For the purposes of this review, I'll be comparing Bannerlord mainly to Warband and the base game, because I feel that a lot of people, especially those that are still sitting on the fence, feel like there isn't enough content for them to make the move from Warband, or maybe even the base game. I personally can sympathize with them, but I would certainly advise you to reconsider. At this point, with the new quests added and the general polish that's been added into the game, I would say that it's generally more fun than Warband and the base game. We will get into why pretty soon. The thing is, I feel like a lot of people forget what Warband was really like, or how different Warband was compared to the even original Mount and Blade. Warband was basically a standalone expansion pack, which added some, not a lot, but some functionality and a bit of narrative, but it was really basically the same thing as the original. Even when you decided to mod the game to hell and back, it still wasn't great. Okay? Especially the AI. My personal gripe is mainly with the Lord's AI, but also with the Army AI. And The thing is, it was really frustrating to me, especially when I was beginning my own kingdom/empire, and you had to deal with each and every lord individually when you wanted to, do something. It was horrible. But I'm getting ahead of myself just a teensy bit. Bannerlord, even while it is in early access, is, as one review that I've read stated pretty nicely, is arguably the best medieval simulator on the market, making it more than worth its value at its current price point. And I will steal another bit from that review. The influence system alone is a godsend, which I can really attest to that. In previous games, getting your empire to do anything you wanted was incredibly hard, borderline impossible. Now, you just need to farm a bit of influence and you are Gucci. You can pass reforms, you can form armies, no problemo, which I really do like. The tactical side of the game got much better as well. The game is no longer about you getting the strongest cavalry unit there is. Most of the time it was heavy cavalry and just head charge everything. I mean, you can sort of do that still, but you can get a bit more mileage out of your rank and file infantry and archers, because now your deployment really matters. Taking advantage of hills, keeping your archers in line of sight to your enemies, managing the position of your cavalry and everything like that is important, and it's gratifying if you actually manage to do it well. Morale is a thing that's also really important in Bannerlord, especially when it comes to the big battles. That is why you don't want to charge your recruits into the heat of things, but maybe, separate them into a different unit and use them as a flanking force. The maps are actually pretty cool. Now, I do have few issues on some maps, but it's not like they are badly designed or anything like that. It's more in the lines of some graphical issues and also some slight inconsistencies. Like, sometimes you can go through trees and the other times you cannot. Branches and all that. Somewhat weird. And I also experienced some graphical glitches here and there regarding textures and that sort of thing. But that's almost assuredly only me. Or even in my personal experience, it doesn't happen that much to adversely affect my enjoyment of the game. So I think that for most people out there, it should be fine. Stability, generally, is much better than what it was on launch. And you need to bear in mind that most reviews were done at launch or around launch. And thus, reading outdated reviews can give you misleading information about the amount of crashes you are going to experience and the content in general. If you feel that the game is lacking content from the general feel of the review you've read somewhere on the interwebs, I would ask you to visit patch notes or maybe look for a updated review, because there is a lot of things added, a lot of things have been fixed, and it's generally better time now than what it used to be. I remember being somewhat disappointed at launch, and now, even though I currently have other games that I would like to play, I can't help it but find myself going back to the game for at least 2, 3, 4 hours like every week, and I find it noteworthy when it comes to this regard. Another thing, and probably one of the last things I would like to talk about, would be the fighting. It really feels meaty and good. There is no better way for me to describe it than good. Heck, I would even dare to say that is great. The way you swing your swords, your axes, you bastard swords, your lumberjack axes, your pitchforks, your lances, your pikes, your halberds, it all feels so satisfying. And the ragdolls, oh boy, the ragdolls. Now, of course, that's nothing new, I know, but it really feels great. The fighting, the way your character moves, it feels somewhat natural. The hitboxes seem to be rather perfect, I would say. I have never had the problem of like missing my target, even though I was pretty damn sure that I hit them. I know, it's these small menial things that should come as granted in today's day and age, given how far games have moved. But sadly, if you look at games like Fallout 76, that's simply not the case. And I know, Fallout 76 is a low-hanging fruit, as people like to say. But come on, man. You know it's true for different titles as well. It almost always happens that at the launch, and sometimes even during the lifespan of the game, there are game-breaking issues with the most basic stuff. Bannerlord, from my point of view, the little amount of issues the game had has been fixed. And now, it's not perfect, but I would say that it's really rather good. And that's about it, really. That's more or less everything I have to say. And well, that said, I would like to leave you with these words. I've been waiting for this game for about 8 years. I became aware of the franchise about 8 or 9 years ago. I know that either my friend or his older brother has been playing the original, I think, Mountain Blade, and they told me that they like it. But from their description, I generally felt like it's not a game for me, personally. You know, at that point, I've been strictly a strategy gamer. I didn't play almost any other genre. I've played few FPS titles, like Quake, Doom, and some of Call of Duties and Battlefield. But other than that, I've been mainly playing XCOM, and Dungeon Keeper, and Black and White, and the Medieval Total War 2, and 1 even. So I didn't really feel like playing the game. But I remember like a year later, or something like that, I came across the game, I think a review or something popped up, and I became interested. I bought the original on a DVD. Good old days really. It was fun. It looked somewhat dated, graphics wise, but other than that, it was pretty fun. Then I forgot about the franchise, and I bought the whole edition on Steam while it was on a discount, and I started modding the games, well, especially Warband. It was really fun. Again, I reignited that passion for the game, and I think that the thing that made me aware of the games again was the fact that the Bannerlord announcement came out. or that, generally they are working on it. And so I bought the games, modded them to hell, and again, I had my fun. But I was really awaiting the new installment, and I've been hopeful that it's going to be good, and that it's not going to be, do I want to go for another low-hanging fruit? Okay. Alien Colonial Marines, that good old game. Or No Man's Sky on launch. That was also fun. Oh boy. If you want a good video about that, go to Internet Historian. It's really good. The video is really entertaining. But again, as always, I'm digressing. That's a problem of mine. Maybe it would have been better if I were to just stream the fucking game for a while and talk about it. But what can one do, right? Anywho, that was my closing statement for this one. I was about to say that I hope you found it helpful and informative, but let's be frank, there hasn't been anything new to be stated from my side that has not been stated anywhere else. But I hope that if you were on the fence, or maybe it goes on a discount in the near future, I hope you will consider buying the game. Or you can always get it somewhere else, try it out and buy it later. But you haven't, heard that here. I do not endorse that. It is a possibility, but I do not endorse that. The game is enjoyable. Go, buy it, play it. It can only get better from here. Especially when the modding scene gets up and running. Currently it's, at least from my point of view, it's still in the early stages. People are getting, accustomed to the new engine and everything like that. Once that's settled, I'm sure that there will be, again, great mods to be had. So, I hope that the rest of the day is going to be great for y'all. I will not delay you any longer. I hope you'll be having a beautiful day, and I will see you next week. Bye.